Good afternoon. This is the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners for Tuesday, November 28, 2017. I'm Commissioner Bud Blake, Chair of the Board this year, and I'd like to start off by doing introductions. To my left is Commissioner Gary Edwards. To my right is Commissioner John Hutchings. To his right is Labanita Bomar, Clerk of the Board. To her right is the County Manager, Romero Chavez. To his right is Robin Campbell, the Budget Officer and Assistant County Manager. And to her right is Scott Cushing, Deputy Prosecuting Attorney for the Prosecuting Office. So with that in mind, I'll ask Commissioner Hutchings to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. And I, in turn, am going to ask John Masterson from Lacey Rotary to lead us in the pledge.
Please join us in the salute to our flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, John.
Thank you, sir. Okay, with that, the next item we have is to approve today's agenda. So is there a motion to approve today's agenda?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve today's agenda, November 28, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve Tuesday, November 28, 2017 agenda. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, and that motion carries. And board meeting minutes from November 14th and 21st of 2017.
I move to approve the board meeting minutes from November 14 and November 21, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve the board meeting minutes from November 14th and the 21st of November 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and that motion carries. So we have three great presentations lined up today, and from some fabulous people throughout the community. And we have one that starts off with the librarian, and so we have Cheryl Haywood, who's the director of the Timberland Regional Library Services and Activities, and she comes at least once or twice a year and gives us all kind of good stories and goodies, and we have a couple good questions for you.
Great, thank you. So before I get started, I would like to have the staff who are here today introduce themselves.
Yeah, bring them up.
Oh, bring them up?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so come on up.
TV. Yes, you didn't know that, did you?
No, we didn't know that.
We like it a little different. Who are you?
My name is Alicia Ryan. I'm the Senior Library Manager for the Tumwater and Tenino Timberland Libraries.
Oh, yeah, Alicia, yeah.
I'm Morgan Soul. I'm the Senior Library Manager at the Olympia Timberland
Downtown,
Library.
huh?
That's
Yeah.
right.
My name is Carissa Sullivan, and I'm the e-library manager of Timberland Regional Library.
Oh, great. Thank you. It's good to know you.
So the e-library is the virtual reality library, right?
Oh, okay.
Where she and her staff accept email and phone calls and chats to answer questions from across the 5-county region, across 27 libraries. There are two managers who are not here today, Nicole Thody from Yelm and Holly Paxson from Lacey. So thank you for this opportunity. I have 4 topics to discuss with you. You do have a handout that is e-resources for jobs and careers. And in the handout, there's information about the highlights of this past summer's summer reading program called Build a Better World. And it looks like this.
Oh, not that one. Okay, good.
So what I want to point out here is that we had over 13,000 children and teens sign up for the summer. Yes. And they attended over 1,000 events at the 27 libraries. They also attended, over 32,000 of them attended the 1,000 and more programs. The most important part of this are the outcome measures. So if you look right at the bottom, it says parents or caregivers reported that their child, so 92% maintained or increased their reading skills, 70% are now more confident readers, 67% read more often, and 65% use the library more often. So that's the kind of outcome-based measurements we are looking for, especially for this largest program that we put on for the year. Wanted to give you an update about the MyTRL program. So the MyTRL program is a program that allows, we issue an e-card, an electronic card for students K through 12. So over 10,400 students at the Olympia School District received an e-card to access our online services for homework help. And then about 5 weeks ago, North Thurston Public Schools, over 15,000 students got an e-card. And then Tumwater School District on November 13, over 6,000 students got an e-card. And we have since signed an MOU with Griffin School District, and we're moving forward with Griffin. And then the Gravity School, which is part of ESC 113, the students there also received an e-card. Exciting for Thurston County, starting December 26th, in a partnership with Intercity Transit, Timberland Regional Library will be selling bus passes in our 5 libraries in Thurston County, because we know one of the major barriers is public transportation or transportation to work and school. And then great news on the workforce development front, and that's part of it is this handout that highlights our workforce-related resources, our online resources primarily, focusing on the job seeker and on employers. And this could save you as an employer in terms of staff training. And I just want to point out 2 of them for your staff for Thurston County government. And that's lynda.com and Universal Classes and Microsoft Office Imagine Academy. So in addition to that, starting November 1 this year, there's one library in each of the 5 counties that now offers Microsoft Office certification testing, which is a very big deal, because the only place to take the test right now is in Tumwater. So if you live in Packwood or you live in Ocean Park, you have to come all the way here to take the test. So now the test is available in a library in each one of our counties. And the great news is that the state library provides a $100 voucher for the person to take the test. So this is a big deal because companies need this level of skill set. And then lastly, about workforce development, Timberland Regional Library has been provisionally accepted by the Pacific Mountain Workforce Development Council to become part of the WorkSource network. So starting January 1, 2018, we will be part of that service, which is a major game changer for the 500,000 residents living in our 5 counties. That's it.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Yeah. So any comments or questions?
No, I would just like to say thank you very much for especially dealing with our youth.
Yes.
Those kids are 30% of our population,
Yes.
but they're 100% of our future.
They are.
And if we don't get it right, that's
Right.
why it's so critical for people like yourself and
Yes.
your organization
Yes.
to be leading that charge.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad you mentioned that, because we set aside a lot of money this year to focus on improving our teen areas in all the 27 libraries, so that there is a welcoming, safe spot for teenagers to come in. We have teenagers heavily involved in advisory councils, such as at Olympia and at Tumwater, I believe. So there's a lot, and at Centralia, there are teenagers who are involved in the selecting of some of the materials and also the identifying and developing programs for teens in our library. So we are very focused on, we've done a lot in the last few years with teens, and I'm very proud of the work we've done. So thank you
so
for
much.
mentioning that.
Thank you.
You know, Cheryl, I think you're a rock star.
Thank
for
you.
what you do. But I have a question. Is the Timberland Regional Library its own taxing district? Or how
Yes.
does that, because you mentioned money. How's that
Yes,
work?
so we are a junior taxing district. We're in the RCW chapter 27.12. And so if you want to know more, you can go read it there. That chapter is devoted to public libraries in the state of Washington and how they're created. And so we are what is considered in the law an inter-county rural library district. And we are a junior taxing district, and so we can levy up to 50 cents per $1,000 of assessed value of your property. We are going into next year at 40 cents. We are not at the 50 cents. We have not been at 50 cents for a long time, easily over a decade, if not longer.
Good job. And do people keep paying
Oh, wait,
fines?
I'm sorry. So 91%, I need to
Finish your thought,
continue.
yeah.
91% of our revenue is property taxes. So when you get that bill from Thurston County, you can see how much you're paying towards Timberland Regional Library. In addition to that, we get 6 to 7% from the Department of DNR, Department of Natural Resources, And that fluctuates. That money is we consider that soft money. So we get timber revenue. We are a beneficiary of trust land. And so the last 5 years or so, it fluctuates between $1.4 and $1.9 million a year. And the majority of that money goes right into our general operating budget. And then in terms of overdue fines, we're going into next year, about $300,000 is going towards overdue fines. That's what people are paying for that. It used to be about $350 or $360. However, we've been very accommodating in terms of reminder emails and so on, and so that's brought it down to $300,000.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you and your team, your organization for what you do for the greater South County and for, South Sound, Puget Sound area. I'm equally pleased with the whole jobs and career direction. I know it's nothing new, but at the same time, it's a new renewed focus for you, and that whole connection between reading, education, and workforce is hugely connected.
Correct.
So my two questions for you, directly or indirectly, is any library connected with any of the nonprofits or reading buddy organizations out there? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like United Way has a Reading Buddy program, and I just wonder if there was a connection.
We have, it depends on the city and the county, and we also have dogs, so it's not just a Reading Buddy where you're reading a person to a person, it's a dog, the child's reading to the dog, not the dog reading to the child.
I was going to say, okay. We can't even do that here. So.
It's a child reading to the dog. And so we have, it's called Pause to Read.
Oh, Pause to Read, okay.
So there's a Pause to Read, and there's another group, I believe, in Grace Harbor County, too. So we work a lot with our local nonprofits and our local organizations. So if you want a full list, I can certainly provide you with that. But we do, from time to time, do that.
Oh, no, just looking for the interconnection piece.
Yes.
I mean, that's how the library really, in my mind, is
and
always
I'm
out
looking
there.
at that all the time, is how can we more deeply braid our services
very well, yeah.
with our community.
So next we can extend to cats and mouse and hamsters. Okay, whatever. Sorry, that's a bad joke. E-card, E-card, K through 12. Just facetiously, can we set up a program or talk about a program about a C-card so commissioners can do their homework?
Actually, what's coming up next is I've just been approached by the State Board of Career and Technical Colleges. For us to be the first pilot. So you're hearing it first.
Okay, good.
My board hasn't even heard this yet.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. And so this would be a pilot we're aiming for April of next year. So this is because there's easily, I'm trying to remember the numbers right now, but there's easily 600,000 people in this state who have not finished their high school diploma.
Oh, my word.
And so the state board is looking at a partnership with a local public library district to work with the local community colleges in our 5-county area so that we can be part of the location where people can come and check out a laptop, a device of some kind to do what's called this High School 21 Plus program so that they can finish their high school degree and move up in the company they're working in or move forward and get a job in the 5-county region.
Yeah. Wow. A lot going on, huh?
A lot going on.
And fabulous, too. Well, thank you so much for coming back and giving us an update. We look forward to the next one, and we'll be there with you all the way, stock and barrel.
Awesome.
You bet.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Sure. So the next item we have is a presentation. If you didn't know it, December 1st is World AIDS Day, and today we have a proclamation we're going to present, and we've asked Shelley Slaughter to come and receive and speak on behalf of it. Shelley is the Director of Public Health and Social Services for Thurston County, and I'm going to ask her to give a little bit of background and some comments. Hi, Shelley.
Hello. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I am here to ask you to join other counties in the state of Washington and other countries around the world in proclaiming this Friday, December 1st, World AIDS Day. This day is dedicated to raising awareness of the AIDS pandemic caused by the spread of HIV infection and those who have died from the disease. My own Uncle Mike died of AIDS about 20 years ago. And at that time, there was great stigma for HIV and AIDS. And it was not something that was publicly talked about very often. But now there are 14,000 people in the state of Washington living with HIV infection every day. And fortunately, with medical advances and treatment options, people can live long, healthy, productive lives. but there are still 500 new cases diagnosed in the state of Washington every year. 400 of those cases disproportionately affect the LGBT community. So we know that there are many ways in which we can prevent the spread of HIV infection through use of condoms, education, outreach, awareness, programs such as our own syringe exchange program operated by Thurston County Public Health, and many others. So we would like to ask you to join the state of Washington with the End AIDS Washington initiative with the goal to reduce new infections by 50% by 2020. So I thank you for making this proclamation today and ask all those that are watching to please join us in the many celebrations that are happening around our community. Help us to spread information on how you can protect yourself, get tested, get insured. There is also something called pre-exposure prophylaxis. This is available now that can prevent those from contracting HIV even after they've been exposed.
Oh.
So thank you very much. Do you have any questions?
Any questions or comments?
Thank you. Thank you.
Nope, just I'm glad we're doing some proactive preventative type work out there as well to limit.
Yeah, if you, I didn't quite hear it, but I want to make sure we heard it. What's the goal again of reduced by 50% to 2020? Can you restate that?
50% by 2020 of new infections.
Oh, new infections, okay. All righty. Okay, with that in mind, I'll ask Commissioner Hutchins to read the proclamation.
This is for December 1st, World AIDS Day. Whereas more than 20,000 people in Washington State have been diagnosed with HIV disease since the first case was diagnosed in 1981. And whereas roughly 3 out of 4 new infections in Washington State are among gay, bisexual, and transgendered individuals. And whereas treatment for HIV disease in Washington State is both effective, widely available, and can dramatically reduce the likelihood of transmission. And whereas there continues to be more than 400 new cases annually of HIV infection in Washington State within the LGBTQ community that continue to impact this community disproportionately. And whereas the Thurston County Public Health Department and nonprofit organizations such as Empowerment Washington, the Pierce County AIDS Foundation, Emma Goldman Youth Homeless Outreach Project, and many others provide testing, outreach, awareness, and education around HIV and AIDS acquisition to the local gay, bisexual, and transgendered communities in Thurston County. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Thurston County Commissioners hereby proclaim December 1st World AIDS Day in Thurston County and encourage the community to participate in events and activities honoring those who have died from the complications of AIDS, and to support local organizations that provide HIV/AIDS services to citizens of Washington State. Adopted this 28th day of November 2017, your Board of County Commissioners. Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you, Shelley. All righty. So if education and health, as far as presentations, was enough, now we have some recreation. So under the Public Works, we have Carrie Hipton, who's going to come up and tell us a little bit about some trails and park recognition. And I guess we have some guests with us today, huh?
We sure do. Sure. Here today to provide some recognition for a couple of different service groups that we've worked with for many years. And starting with the Lacey Rotary, and we do have some representatives here today with the Lacey Rotary. We, just in discussion, have found that we've worked together for 20 years on our trails system, and that's quite a notable thing, I think. The Lacey Rotary has provided 5 different permanent structures, deck structures on the Thurston County Trails system, which include benches, ADA ramps, and signage. These sites have been provided by donation from the group and include all the designs, the materials, and the labor to construct them. The sites are used as meeting places, rest areas, and for wildlife viewing. They serve thousands of trail-using residents and visitors a year in our region, and they've become landmarks on the trails that people refer to. So on behalf of Thurston County Parks, I'd just like to say thank you to the Lacey Rotary.
You bet.
Do we clap now or later?
I want you to bring some of them up and introduce them. Yeah. Yeah.
Alan Johnson.
Thank you. Thanks for being here today, and thanks, Carrie, for your help. With Dalton Johnson, you guys have been very helpful. So as Carrie mentioned, 20 years ago, we built our first overlook in 1997, and that was on Chambers Lake. And since then, the next one was in 2012, and the remaining after that, we finished the last one this summer. But it's been, on behalf of the Lacey Rotary and all of its members, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you for the opportunity for being here today. We have a couple other Lacey Rotarian past presidents here, and although they've forgotten to shave. But still November. So anyway, the projects have been well received by the local public, local citizens in the area, and those overlooks are going to be there for decades. Like I said, the Chambers Lake has been there for 20 years, and it'll be there for another 20 years. And so on that note, that's what Rotary does. It's Rotary above self, and we are here to make the community a little bit better.
Yes.
So thank you very much for being here. And does Greg or John have anything you'd like to say or add to it?
We appreciate the acknowledgement. This has been a labor of love for the Rotary Club.
Come on through the mic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
John, come on. I just want to say this is, we really appreciate the acknowledgement of the work we've done over the past 20 years. My name's Greg.
There you go.
I'm a member of the Lacey Rotary Club. This has been a labor of love for all of us, particularly this guy here who's coordinated every project we've had, and we appreciate Kerry and his staff helping us identify projects and locations that were meaningful, that had something significant to them. 4 of them overlook lakes or the Deschutes River, and one's at the headwaters or the trail connection of the Tenino-Yelm Trail and the Chehalis Western. So, this has been, as I said, a labor of love for us. We enjoyed doing it. We significantly appreciate the opportunity to do so, and you don't need to acknowledge us, but we appreciate the recognition for it anyway. I know Lacey Rotary Club does too, and there's all the Rotary clubs in Thurston County just do a great job, and that's what we're committed to. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, Greg.
Now, don't sit down yet.
No, don't sit down. Yeah. John?
Take 2 seconds. John Masterson, I'm also a past president of Lacey Rotary Club, and I want to express our appreciation for the recognition, also on behalf of our current president, Dave Schneider. There are about 100 women and men in our club who participate in our projects over the course of the years, and many of them recruited, if you will, their own kids to come and help, so it becomes a family event. But it's one of the things that we do in the community. We annually give back $50,000+ in cash awards to local nonprofits. Some money goes out to internationals, and we annually award about $60,000 in scholarships to students coming out of the area served by North Thurston High School District. So the community is important to us, and we try and give back in many ways, this being one. So thank you.
You bet.
And in the projects, we often include high school Interact students. So it's a great experience for them also, so they've been involved. And so, again, thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you, sir. So, Carrie, do we want to read this plaque now and then do the other one later? Okay, let's do this one now.
This plaque is being presented to Lacey Rotary with appreciation for constructing rest areas and viewpoint decks along the Thurston County Trail System, July 2017, Thurston County Public Works, Parks and Trails Division. There we go. Now we got it.
We're going to go down there and get
Now we got it. Thank you.
We're going to get a photo. We'll get a photo.
We got to get the lineup over here. Right over here. Yeah. You don't talk about work.
Carrie.
Come on, Carrie. No. Thank you.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. John, good to see you. Good to see you.
Thank you.
And so, Carrie, we have another
Wait,
organization
can I say
involved?
something in between? Before we get to
sure do.
the next one, let me
Okay,
just
sure.
say I was exceptionally proud to be a member of the Lacey Rotary brought in by John Masterson, recruited and such. Because of the amount of money and work and effort that goes back right into the community is heartwarming. So thank you, Lacey Rotary. I'm still in Rotary, but a different club now because of timing. But you do great work. Thank you.
Go ahead, Carrie.
Very satisfying working with all these service groups. It's fantastic. And next, I'd like to give recognition to the Thurston County Realtors Association. And with us today, we have Rayanne Toth as a representative of Thurston County Realtors. And the Thurston County Realtors Association have taken on the annual cleanup of the Mima Pioneer Cemetery for many, many years in a row now. This group comes out in force once a year and has about 25 plus volunteers out there on site, working to clear brush, down trees, mow the tall grass, and even clean the headstones. And although this site doesn't see thousands of visitors per year, like the trails, the people that do visit the site to respect and honor their loved ones really feel that it's very important work that they do, and so do we. They do a fantastic job for us, and I'd just like to thank them for that.
Yeah, sure. Do you have a guest that would like to come to the podium?
Sure would. Rayanne?
Yeah.
Hi,
Hello,
I'm Rayanne Toth. I'm the president of the Thurston County Realtors Association, and we're greatly appreciated of being recognized for this effort. Ed Kunkel, who is the Community Days chair, he couldn't be here today, but he heads that up, and we've been doing it for the last 6 years. This last year we had over 100 volunteers. Some of them went to the Mima Cemetery, and then others we did some community service work for seniors that couldn't take care of the outside of their homes. We cleaned up a lot of brush that had been overtaking their yards and everything. But we've also painted over graffiti in the Olympia downtown area. So we do this once a year, like I said, and we're just happy to do our part in this community that we feel offers a quality of life that you don't see everywhere. And we think the people around here really appreciate that. And that's why we give back to the community.
Yeah, very much so.
I'll follow up with one quick thing. It's, again, so satisfying working with these groups. And one very small but significant example is last year that the group was out there, an elderly woman had heard about the effort to clean up the cemetery and previously had been unable to visit the stones of her loved ones because of taller grass, and she was not able to walk through there. So she came out the day of, escorted by her daughter, and thanked all of the realtor volunteers, and was able to go there and take pictures of all the headstones of her family and her loved ones, and just very satisfying, very important work that they do.
You bet. Thank you so much, Rayanne, for the Realtors Association for what you do and will continue to do for this community. Yeah. Any questions or comments?
Did Jim or Greg come
Yeah.
with to be bodyguards?
I was about to ask
Were
that.
they part of this deal? Just riding coattails, okay.
And I'm sorry that Ed Kunkel Jr. is not here. Yes. Because he's a good egg. Yes. And I worked with his dad, Senior, for better than 20-some years with Olympia. And he also was always giving back to the community as well. So, presented to Thurston County Realtors Association with appreciation for the restoration and maintenance of the historic Mima Prairie Pioneer Cemetery, July 2017, Thurston County Public Works, Parks and Trails Division. There you go, sir.
Let's go to another photo.
Oh, we clap now.
Welcome at the Mo.
That's the part I like. It's an all skate. Come on, come on.
It's an all skate.
Everybody gets.
More that way?
Peggy Bear.
Oh, man, smile. Mark, get it. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Thank you, Gary, very much.
All right. So that concludes our presentation portion of today's agenda, and we'll move into the next portion, which is the
Okay.
opportunity for the public to address the board. And so I have a sign-in sheet. I don't know if anybody else would like to sign in, but if not, I haven't signed in yet. Just hold off until the end, and then I'll ask for any volunteers to come forward. What we have is the 3-minute clock on your right up there on my left. And when it counts down from 3 minutes to 0 minutes, you get this little sound that goes, eh. Well, if you happen to be in midstream of your thought or trying to finish up a sentence, I'll let you do that. But I hold you back pretty much to 3 minutes. So I'm just going to go as the first come, first serve down the order of those people who signed in. And first I have Christine Hartman. Hi, Christine. How you doing? Come on up to the. It's your turn. Yeah. It's good to see you.
Number one, I'm honored to stand in front of 3 amazing commissioners. This is the first time I've been here since you've been elected, so.
We're good to have you.
And I love this, these beautiful representative of our Constitution and Declaration. I love it.
He did it.
Gary, congratulations. I came today to talk about the treasure of Thurston County. In my opinion, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
In my opinion, the treasure of Thurston County is Lattin's Cider Mill Inn. Since I moved here 28 years ago, I have spent many years shopping there, watching what's going on there, watching all the families and children come through there from all aspects of this community, smelling the smells of their homemade food and all their produce that's produced right there. I was there recently, and it was intoxicating and magical. That's all I can say. And as far as I'm concerned, the family is so important to stay together. And to me, this farm, this family farm, is an example of how a family can come together, bring their children, teach them about animals and farming, etc. And I'm very, very disturbed about what has happened to Lattin's Cider Mill Inn. I feel they have been attacked unmercifully, and I don't agree with it. I feel that there has to be another motive behind what's going on there, because it isn't about the goats. They have taken care of their goats. They have had a veterinarian watch them. This is nature that's going on with the goats in their hoofs. I don't want to talk about the goats, but the point is, there's more to this, and I am very disturbed, and I really think that Thurston County needs to take a look at why this is happening to the treasure of Thurston County. Because to me, if we have something that brings money to the county, great people, we serve the people in Thurston County with this great farm, why are we attacking it? Why are we not in unity with one another? We need to be in unity with one another, or else we're going to go down. I really mean that. And I know that's what our new president is working for, which is unity in this country, bringing people together. We are so divided, and we're all one. We're all the same inside, all of us. We all want the same thing. We want freedom. We want to love one another. We want to have a happy home. We want to eat good food, whatever. And it's time for Thurston County to open their heart and love Latins.
Thank you, Christine. No.
We're getting so tough, but no. I love this great farm, and I don't want it abused.
Thank you for your words, Christine. So next I have Mr. Eddie Armstrong. Hello, sir. How are you? Good. You have
Thank you for hearing me, boys. I can call you old boys. Okay. 'Cause I'm a lot older than all of you.
Okay.
As a teenager, the last time we had 3 commissioners that worked for the good of the public in the county. Tom Richards was head of the commission at that time, why, when the road grader went down the road, they done your driveway. That's the way the unity of the county was then.
Yep.
I'm here today to speak on behalf of the Latins. This is the biggest travesty ever happened in this county. This family supports 31 families other than themselves, and I won't repeat the gal ahead of me. I do not understand why the prosecuting attorney's office has probably spent over $100,000 and has just recently added 2 more deputy prosecutors to the case to try to put this woman out of business. She's 85 years old. She could be your mother. They're lovely, lovely people, but this thing since June has cost her, in lack of business, over $50,000. Now she's spent over $30,000 on attorney fees. Why did this have to happen to these people? Because the whole deal is illegal, and that'll be proven. But why she should have to bear $100,000 to save her family's business? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. Okay, so that completes my list. Unless there's somebody in the audience who'd like to come forward, just raise your hand and I'll bring you forward and let you speak behind the podium. And I don't see anybody, so we'll just move on to the next portion of the agenda, and which is number 2, the county manager's update. So I'll turn to Ramiro Chavez to see if he has an update for us.
I don't have any updates for you, Commissioner.
Nothing? Okay, great. So we'll move right into the item number 3, which is the consent items. And we have consent items A through I. Is there a motion for the consent items?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve consent items A through I.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent items A through I. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, and that motion carries. So we'll move right into department items, which is number 4. We'll have the Sheriff's Department is on the list. I have the Undersheriff, Mr. Tim Braniff, to talk to us a little bit about the contract for inmate medical services of 2018. Hello, Undersheriff. How you doing there?
Good, Commissioners. How are you?
Doing great.
Here to make sure that you don't have any library fines.
No library fines, huh? Okay.
Okay.
That's what you're here for, huh?
I'll trust you on that. We're here today to ask the Board of County Commissioners authorization for the sheriff to enter into a contract with our health care delivery systems to provide medical services to our inmates at the jail. The contract is for 2018 and can be renewed annually for 4 years, at which time we will go into a bid again in 2022. This is essentially a 5-year contract. Our current medical services contract ends at the end of December 31st, 2017. We are required by the treatment sales tax MOU that we have and our prudent procurement practices to go out to bid for every 5 years, and we're coming to the end of that term. We went out on a RFP on July 18th of 2017. There were 2 vendors that responded, and the selection committee determined that the HDS contract, which is the healthcare delivery systems, was the least cost responsible bidder, and recommends entering into a contract with HDS to provide those medical services for our jail. The yearly cost of the contract is about $1,053,672. The contract allows for reasonable annual COLA increases to the HDS staff not to exceed 3%. The cost of the contract for 2018 is $37,130 more than our 2017 contract. The cost of this is the increase is required for the additional hours to provide continuity of care for some of our inmates. And we also have submitted a 4th quarter budget amendment for the $37,130 to increase the cost to be included in the 2018 budget as we move forward to prepare for that. Are there any questions?
Go ahead.
Does this cover any of the off-campus activities that might take place for an inmate?
Separate from the hospital visits?
Well, say if they need to have a stay in a hospital, is that also covered with
No,
this?
that's a separate
So that's
cost.
a separate added-on cost?
Correct. This is just for the services provided by the staff, the HDS staff at the
In the
jail.
facility?
Yes, sir.
What about dental? Is that covered in the facility?
It depends on if they can take care of it in there. If not,
If not, it's not covered.
correct.
Any of the other jurisdictions that bring in prisoners into our jail, are they billed for any of these medical services?
Not inside the facility, no, nor outside the facility. That right now is in, I guess, deliberation.
Contestation. So we're getting no compensation from any of the jurisdictions, though we have their prisoners currently.
That's correct.
Okay. Now I'm done. Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you, sir.
Is there a motion to award a contract?
I move to approve the sheriff or his designee to enter into a contract with Healthcare Delivery Service or Systems for inmate medical services in the amount of $1,053,672 for 2018.
Second.
Been moved and seconded and stated. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, and so your motion carries.
That doesn't mean we like it.
Yeah.
No, the bitter pill, no pun intended.
Bitter pill to swallow, that's right.
It's a big one.
Big
It's a
one,
horse
yeah.
pill.
All right. Thank you.
All
Thank you,
right.
sir.
Okay, so we move on to item number 5, which is from Public Works. Is Matt Unselman here? Oh, Scott.
There he is.
Scott's here. Sorry about that. Scott's here to talk about a contract award for Innovative Safety Program.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Scott Davis with the Public Works Department, and I'm here to ask for a contract award for the Innovative Safety Program High Friction Surface Treatment under County Road Project number 61504. In October 5th, 2017, a total of 5 bids were opened for the Innovative Safety Program called High Friction Surface, or the Innovative Safety Program High Friction Surface Treatment under County Road Project number 61504. This bid was in response for a call for sealed bids. The low responsive bidder was D'Angelo Brothers LLC out of Hazleton, Pennsylvania, and the total amount on their bid was $200,006,500. The Public Works is requesting permission from the Board of County Commissioners for the Public Works Director to execute a contract with D'Angelo Brothers to complete this work. This project is entirely funded through federal funds, so there's no local match. The project will include installing high-friction surface treatment at 29 locations on arterial collector roadways throughout the county. And this involves application of a very high-quality aggregate and a high-quality binder that adheres the rocks to the roadway, and that what the friction surface does is it improves safety at basically high crash locations or high risk locations. And this higher pavement friction allows drivers to navigate curves more safely, and also allows vehicles to stop faster if they need to, depending on the weather conditions, whether it's wet or dry. Let's see, the project is in our 2017-2018 Public Works budget, and on our current county transportation improvement program, as well as the capital facilities program. Is there any questions? Yes, sir.
How did we happen to end up with a contractor from Pennsylvania?
Well, high friction surfacing is a little bit unlike, it's more specialized, I guess. And so if we bid this out a couple of years ago, there may have been only 3 contractors. They probably have been all from out of state. So most of the contractors that do this right now are out-of-state contractors. I don't remember who. Let's see. I think we had. No, I think every single one of the contractors that bid were from out of state.
Is that because this is relatively new technology that's being utilized?
It is relatively new. So that's why the State Department of Transportation called the Innovative Safety Program. So it is relatively new. Not many local agencies are using it right now, and the equipment they use they're probably over $500,000 piece of a truck that drives down the road and puts the stuff down. So it's not something that most contractors have available to. More of the specialty. I guess that will change over time, but as of right now, it's fairly specialized.
Still, we're pretty fortunate to end up with this in our county as a no cost to the local taxpayers, and it's a trial. Is that what it is?
No, it's not really a trial. We did do a demonstration in partnership with Washington Department of Transportation and Federal Highways a few years ago, and they trained county staff to actually do the installation. So, and part of that trial for us was to determine, well, can we maintain this after we put something down on the ground? and that was kind of a big question. And so that's something that we can easily do. In this case, the improvement itself in the high friction surfacing is what practitioners call proven safety treatment. So where they've done it across the nation, mostly on state highways, they've documented crash reduction, especially for serious and fatal crashes, almost everywhere it's been done, and very significant reductions, I guess. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the demonstration or the briefing you gave us on that high friction, and it was fascinating. Can't wait to see the reduction in collisions and such out in the county. But I was intrigued also that Pennsylvania put in a bid, and I think it has something to do with this Sunday, the Seattle Seahawks are playing the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think it's a conspiracy of some sort, is what I'm thinking.
Well, yeah, all the work's happening right after the game,
yeah.
so I'm just kidding.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, with that in mind, is there a motion for the contract?
Mr. Chair, I move to award the contract for the Innovative Safety Program, High Friction Surface Treatment, CRP number 61504, to D'Angelo Brothers, LLC of Hazleton, Pennsylvania, in the amount of $1,206,500, $206,500, and to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and any change orders for this project due to unforeseen conditions only, not for changes in scope, up to 15% of the contract, or $180,975, or an aggregate amount of $1,387,475.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, and so your motion carries, Scott.
Thank you.
You bet. The next item we have in the departmental is number 6, which is the Public Health and Social Services. And we have, I think, either Mark Moppet or Jennifer Popchin is going to speak to us a little bit about the approval of Thurston Mason Development Disabilities Millage Fund. I am so sorry, Jennifer.
In a few more years.
No.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. So I'm asking that you move to approve the award of up to $375,000 in dedicated Thurston County Developmental Disabilities Millage Funding and up to $86,000 in dedicated Mason County Millage Funding, and authorize the Director of Public Health and Social Services to develop and sign contracts with South Sound Parent to Parent, VADIS, Protective Payee Services, the Arc of Washington, Coastal Community Action Program, People First, Exceptional Foresters, and Morningside for the contract period of January 1st, 2018 to December 31st, 2019.
Not yet.
I was going to give a brief. So in the fall of this year, we had a RFP process, and the board had approved to release the funds, $375,000 for Thurston County, $86,000 for Mason County. And we had a panel of 6 folks that were representatives from the developmental disabilities community in Thurston and Mason, and they selected 8 agencies to move forward in the process, and those were the South Sound Parent to Parent, which is a helping parent program, and it works with parents that have children with developmental disabilities, kind of walks them through the system. Protective Payee Services, they have a representative payee service and a case management component. The Arc of Washington, it's a self-advocacy group for folks with developmental disabilities. The Arc of Washington, which is going to provide a benefits planning service for folks with developmental disabilities that work. And then we have 3 agencies, VADIS, Exceptional Foresters, and Morningside, that are going to provide high school transition services, and then a Coastal Community Action Program for rural transportation.
What are your questions or comments?
Well, after Commissioner Hutchins said, I just want you to know that we're not taking this lightly just because we're having a little fun, but we're spending about over $3 million today up here, and if you didn't have a little fun with it, you'd cry. So, anyway, thank you for all you do, Jennifer. Thank you very much.
It is you're right. It is, you think, holy moly. At the same time, this morning when we just discussed the application process and the vetting process and who was being awarded some of the funding and such, I'm comfortable with this, although some other folks or organizations did not receive funding.
Correct.
That's the down part of it, the
Correct.
downside of it, not enough funding to go around for everybody that
Right.
is requesting or in need of it as well.
Right.
Which doesn't demean or negate their need as
Right.
well, what they do to the community.
Yes.
But you have to make decisions, and this is a decision that's being made. So thank you.
Yeah, but to tailor on that, there are other options out there for those that were not selected.
Yes, sir.
This particular funding option, right?
Yes, sir.
And
We're
that
going to
just-
look into other options for the agencies that we weren't able to contract with through this funding.
Okay.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you.
All right, is there a motion?
I move to approve the award of up to $375,000 in dedicated Thurston County Developmental Disabilities Millage funding and up to $86,000 in dedicated Mason County millage funding, and authorize the Director of Public Health and Social Services to develop and sign contracts with South Sound Parent to Parent, VODIS, Protective Payee Services, the Arc of Washington, Coastal Community Action Program, People First, Exceptional Foresters, and Morningside for the contract period of January 1, 2018 through December 31, 2019.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and so your motion carries, Jennifer. Thank you. So next we have number 7, which is Emergency Services, and we have the Director of Emergency Services, Mr. Kurt Harden, to talk a little bit about the approval of the U.S. Interior Agreement with Thurston County for river gauges.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm here to request that the Board approve a joint funding agreement between the USGS and Thurston County for the maintenance and operation of 2 river gauges. The cost is $28,340 a year. This is a recurring contract, and the county share of this is $18,575, with the USGS picking up the remaining amount. Emergency Services pays for $13,475 of this, and Resource Stewardship's portion is $5,100. And both of these amounts are in the approved budget for the upcoming budget. The gauges monitor water flow within the Deschutes River and also the Schuylkill River and the water flow, and they do not do any monitoring of water quality. This is an annual agreement based on the federal fiscal year, and the gauges are located on the Deschutes River near Rainier and on the Schuylkill River near Pecota. So I request that you approve this contract and this agreement.
Any questions about river gauges?
You said it does not keep track of water quality per se?
Correct.
How about temperature? Does it keep track of temperature?
It doesn't keep track of temperature. What it does is it monitors water flow, so cubic feet per second, and then it's utilized for flooding predictions, and they're used for the flood models up at the National Weather Service.
And then this information is sent by radio possibly to
I would have
ongoing collection? Or?
I'm not sure how it gets transmitted back. I'd have to try go back and determine whether it's internet based or whether or not it's actually a landline or how it's transmitted back. I can get that information back to you.
Satellite.
Yeah, maybe satellite.
Yeah.
Possibly, when you do that, could you take a look if there's anything that we could, being we're doing this anyway, if we couldn't complement this particular activity with more information that might help us with water quality and possibly with
temperature.
Some, you know, the temperature and contaminants and things. I don't know, maybe it'd cost a little more, but maybe we could do a supplement contract if we're going to do it anyway to see if we can't garner that type of information as well to protect our environment.
Okay. I'll look into that and I'll get back to you on that information.
Okay. Thank you.
No questions.
No questions. Is there a motion?
I move to approve joint funding agreement number 18WNWA08000 between the U.S. Geological Survey, USGS, and Thurston County for a total fixed cost of $28,340, of which the county's share is $18,575, emergency services $13,475, and resource stewardship $5,100 for the period of October 1, 2017 through September 30, 2018, and authorize the directors of the emergency services and resource stewardship to sign the agreement.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, and that motion carries for you, Kirk. Thank you, sir. So we have number 8, which is the commissioners and county managers items. And Robin Campbell, the assistant county manager, is going to give us a brief over the 2017 property tax levies to be collected for the general levy fund.
So this afternoon, I am recommending that the board take three actions on property taxes. The first is to raise the property tax levy by 1%, authorize a road levy shift of $1.5 million, and certify the property tax levy to the assessor. Property taxes are the major revenue source for 4 of our county funds: the general fund, the road fund, Medic One, and conservation futures. And a portion of the general fund levy goes to support public health and our veterans programs. By state law, the board is allowed to increase the levy by 1%, and the combined, between all these funds, the combined 1% is $714,000. In accordance with RCW 8455-120, information regarding the county's revenue that would support the budget was published on November 6th, and a public comment or a public hearing was held on November 21st, which was last week. One comment was made at the hearing, and basically that was expressing concern that the proposed county revenue does not cover the proposed budgeted expenditures. So even though the property tax levy is 1% and it's a major source of revenue, the increase in the tax levy doesn't come close to the increase in the cost of providing services in the county. And as one example, in the general fund, the 1% increase is worth about $377,000. But when we're looking at the general fund and the board is considering a cost of living adjustment for the employees that are paid from the general fund, and that includes sheriff deputies and correction officers and people who run the courts and people who oversee elections and people who go out and assess property values. All of these staff are paid from the general fund. And just a 1% cost of living increase for these staff would be about almost $500,000, in excess of the 1% that we get from the property levy increase. And I would say that that's true in the other funds as well. The 1% increase doesn't necessarily cover the increase in cost of providing services. So I do recommend that the board take the action to increase the 1%. Then the road levy shift, the board is authorized by law to shift the levy. And what that does is, if there's capacity in the rate, it allows you to take money from the road levy and collect it instead in general fund. And by doing this levy shift of $1.5 million, that allows you to reduce the road diversion amount by the same amount. So it's not going to increase funding necessarily available to provide services out of the general fund. It allows us to maintain at a current level. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions to Robin?
No, I think you actually answered all the questions that I was about to have. Thank you very much for that presentation.
And just to reiterate, the 1% increase is not a $1 to $5 to $10 million windfall for the county. It's like $300,000, which barely covers even a 1% COLA.
It doesn't begin to cover a 1%.
Got it.
Yeah.
Good grief. Okay. No questions.
So it's pocket change in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah.
Okay, is there a motion for the property tax?
I move to certify the 2017 property tax levies for the general fund, roads, Medic One, and conservation futures to be collected in 2018, which includes a combined 1% increase in the amount of $714,068.10, as authorized by RCW 84.55.010, and authorize a road levy shift in the amount of $1.5 million.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and that motion carries. Okay, so we're now at the juncture where commissioners are able to report back on any of the work sessions or work boards they or committee assignments they sit on, or something they might have seen out in the public. And I just wondering if either one of my two seatmates had something to address or talk about.
No, not today.
Not today. Okay. How about you, sir?
Yes, I participated in the Pac Mountain Consortium meeting last week via phone, and attended the Tourism Promotion Area Special Annual Meeting, which predominantly was budget, sitting around with all the hoteliers in the county. But they're good people anyway. A lot of fun. And attended the breakfast. It wasn't funny. Attended the South Sound Military and Community Partnership Elected Officials Council breakfast. What's today? A week ago today. But more importantly, this coming Friday, December 1, at 6 p.m., I believe it is the tree lighting in Tenino, where traditionally the Tenino High School band and choral or choir group come out, rain or shine, and it's been pouring down in the past and freezing cold, windy, and everybody's out there and they're playing to their heart's content and singing, and it's a great fun. But also at 7 p.m. in Tenino, the Tenino Area Chamber of Commerce is putting on their auction and party at the Eagles Club, 349 Sussex Avenue East. It's behind the gas station there, about 3 blocks west of City Hall. So I would say come one, come all to the auction and party, and come out for the tree lighting at 6 p.m. Hot cider and coffee et al. Is provided as well. Thank you.
You bet. All righty, so I'm going to give this a try. So one of the duties as the chair of the board is to sit on what we call the canvassing board. And the canvassing board is where me plus 2 other elected officials comprise this board to look at those ballots that are in dispute. And then at some point in time, we give a validation of all the ballots. Not every single one, we don't go through every single one, but the number count to make sure it is validated and meets the requirements of all the RCWs in the state and what have you. So just to kind of throw some numbers out there, I'm going to walk you through some good news and some bad news of this. And just to start you off, that 34.30, I'll try to round out some of the numbers, but 34% of the registered voters came out to vote in this very last election cycle. And that's kind of disappointing. But believe it or not, there's some within other states that had 20 and 10% in their counties, which is even more horrible than where we have 34%, although I would like a 50 or 56 or 60% nonetheless. So I'm going to walk you through some numbers here. Just for the numbers game, let's say that there's approximately 260,000 population here in Thurston County. It could go up to 270 in some people's minds. That's okay, but 260. With that in mind, there are 176,312 registered voters. So we'll say 176,000 voters. So that leaves almost 83,600 people who do not even have anything to do with voting or a ballot or anything out there whatsoever. And that's like, oh my God, that's astonishing. It drives me crazy as a former soldier, but that's a different story. So of that 176,000 registered voters, here is the sad story that gets to the 34%. Only 60,960 or 61,000 voted in this last election. That's almost 116,000, give or take, that did not vote this election cycle that do have their name as registered voters out there. So that's a huge population that just didn't fill out the ballot for whatever reason. They're entitled to it. Wouldn't pressure anybody to do it. But it's 116,000 people that just decided not to participate. So I say that because no matter where you're at in life, democracy is here in America, and we need to support it in some way. So I just ask people to vote. So let's go overseas. That was at home. Let's go overseas. Of that 176,000-ish, of registered voters, there's 7,425, let's roll that up, 7,500 that are part of that 176,000 that we send ballots out to those who live in overseas for some reason, be it military, non-military, or overseas, not here in Thurston County. So it's 7,425. We received only 936 back as being counted there. So almost, what is that? I can't do the fast math, but 6,000 that didn't even send theirs back from around the world, wherever they're at. So I just say those numbers out there because it's so easy to vote. So easy to vote. It's mailed to you. And oh, by the way, this numbers support the mailing in your vote versus the going down in the old traditional way to the gymnasium or the school and pulling the little levers or whatever voting. That does not have a better return on voter turnout, believe it or not. Mail voting, mailing your ballots in voting has a better results across the board. So we'll see what happens in the near future with electronic voting. I mean, that's a whole different discussion out there. But whatever it takes to get you to vote is really what I encourage people to do. So I'm off of that soapbox. And so next week, I'll be at what we call the Risk Pool Conference. And that's super cool because there's 26 counties to include Thurston County. We are all one pool, and how we decide how we are going to insure ourselves as a county or counties, a collective bunch of counties. And we have a lot of risk here in Thurston County, no matter what it is, from personnel to equipment to actions to activities. And it's super intense of what will be underwritten and covered and what will not be. And so I'll come back and report on some of the things we talk about as a risk pool. So and with that in mind, I'll turn to the county manager and see if he has any calendar updates.
May I make a follow-up on your pieces, though?
Yeah, sure.
On the voting piece, the Olympian had kind of an interesting headline. And I read a piece of the article, but not the entire thing. And it was, if you didn't vote, look who voted for you.
Yeah, that's another way of looking at it. Yes,
because we had a couple very close, I mean exceptionally close elections this month. Very close. So
both
thank you for that
for ballot
update.
measures and for people running. It was really close.
Yeah, so thank you.
You bet.
Thank you, Commissioners. I will walk you through to your combined calendar in the upcoming week, where at least 2 commissioners will be present in those meetings. You may have individual appointments on your individual calendars. Those will not be part of my report. Starting tomorrow, Wednesday, November 29th at 9:30, you have a Board of Equalization update. At 10 in the morning tomorrow, November 29th, you have a preview of the 2018 budget presentation, which is going to be in next Monday at 6 in the afternoon. That will be it for tomorrow. On Thursday, you don't have anything scheduled. You don't have anything scheduled on Friday, December 1st. And moving on to Monday, December 4th at 9:30, you have the opportunity to go out in the field and be part of the placing of the signs, the Purple Heart signs on some specific county roadways. We're hoping that the media will be attending, and that will be a great event as you can expect. Also on Monday, December 4th, at 6 in the afternoon, you have a public hearing on the 2018 preliminary budget. Well, you will have the opportunity to hear testimony as well as presentations on a little more specifics as to how the 2018 budget will come together. And that's what we call is a major update. As you know, we have a biennial budget, and this is not a full budget cycle, it's just a major update on the 2018 year. And that's what I have for you today.
Follow-ups you would like to do? No. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn the November 28, 2017 meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, and that motion carries. Thank you very much.